The product of Jujutsu Kaisen was spaced out for 6.5 years. Nearly 7 years if you include the serialization of the special issues. And what I learned was, I'm really an idiot. This is sad. This is the last commentary in Jujutsu Kaisen's volumes made by Gege Akutami. Typically, if the author does those lasting comments, they usually like to talk a lot about how happy they are, how grateful they are, but Gege is doing something really different, which makes me personally very sad. Gege is talking about how he's dissatisfied with himself. I will read out a huge chunk of this 4-page, I guess, a last note from Gege Akutami. When I first saw it, it was posted by Miyamura on Twitter. They are a famous leaker who used to leak Jujutsu Kaisen chapters a lot. One of the good leakers, if I may say so. A lengthy 2-page self-deprecating afterword by Gege Akutami. Now, I thought when I heard self-deprecating it might not be, as bad, but it is pretty bad. The word pissed out was something I thought maybe was changed, or maybe, during translations when they kind of adapt the word. I thought it was one of those cases, but no, the product of Jujutsu Kaisen was pissed out, as Gege says. I was, of course, pushing myself to the limits to pull out everything I could do to my creations, and after about 3 years of serialization, my already rough personality began to become absent-minded. Now, the first 3 years of serialization was, I think, exactly the length of up to the Shibuya incident, and absent-minded is a word which I don't entirely understand, but as Gege kept talking about it, I understood what he meant. Even though I was complaining that I am fed up with having all things pointed out to me that could be figured out by looking it up on the internet, I still made the mistake on volume 18 with a sandpin. Ended up thinking like Gecko Moria, that if something bad happens, the people around me will figure it out. I've also been writing the openings for 6 and 7 years. Now, what did I want? Basically, there are a lot of things to cover here. Yes. So, first of all, yes, it is annoying. I don't mention this a lot, but as one of many jobs I had was I used to be a writer and an artist for a certain publication back here. It was kind of annoying, I will admit. It made me irritated, but I believe when there are a lot of mistakes pointed out to you, it gets annoying. Now, this next part kind of confused me. In volume 18, Gege says he made a mistake with Sandpin. Sandpin is a tea company, and I tried to find what mistake he made exactly. The only thing which kinda made me guess as to what happened, I don't think it happened in Volume 18. No, it did happen in Volume 18. Volume 18 is related to Hakari, which there were a lot of gambling moments, and Gege famously had issues with people, with the editorial being mad at him with gambling stuff. Like, for example, there was a scene with there was a small comic, like an extra comic, where Gojo is quizzing the students. For example, Boy F defeated Lokoto through judgment and prejudice. Girl K, countryside hater and who easily resorts to violence. Boy 1, a boy who went to pachinko. Among these, which violates Weekly Shonen Jump's compliance? Maybe 1 or 2? 3! So yes, Gege is clearly salty about that. To be honest, I would be too. There are a lot of fucked up things in Shonen Jump, and seriously, pachinko is the stuff which made them angry. But yes, it made him irritated, and he, really relied on people around him, which can be, I guess, it would make me feel bad because this is my creation, yet I can't decide what happens to it properly. But what this means is that the adults around me were just that reliable. So Gege admits that people around him were pretty good. I have really greatly troubled all of my editors. Katayama-san Ikeda-san and Fukuda-san, the volume manager Yanagida-san, the designer Ishino-san, and my assistant. Speaking of being a trouble, I believe I put quite a bit of stress on every week in the editorial department and everyone at the printers. I really apologize greatly for that. Jujutsu began running with my first editor Yamanaka-san, which I believe Gege had a lot of complaints about. But I believe Yamanaka might be the guy that came up with Black Flash. I will look over the guidebook again, but I think, yeah, he was the guy that came up with an idea of Black Flash. And we immediately entered an underground force labor arc, but he periodically communicated with me, Fangiryu, thank you and I'm grateful for meeting you. Like, it's a play on words, I guess. I think underground labor arc was where he was forced to work a lot. I don't think... Yes, I think that's what happened exactly. The reason I did not talk much in between the volumes, which is noticeable, by the way, in between the volumes, like volumes 1 to 4, had a lot of extra comics by Gege Akutami about his everyday life. But after that, they went down and down, where around the calling games, Gege did not talk, like, at all. At best, he would make a few sketches. When first becoming a serialized, I took into consideration that Jujutsu Kaisen was being serialized in a major magazine. I had this feeling of trying to do my best to elevate those who would read Jujutsu Kaisen and feel hurt, and those who would be hurt by those who read Jujutsu Kaisen. The result of that was me telling myself, shut up, I get it, you, Akutami, just want to be seen as a good person. Now, I think there is some wobbly translation going on. Again, this is translated by fans. I don't expect it to be clear. Like John Very should be very clear, but still. I think what Gege is talking about here, the disappointment which was clearly felt with calling games, I think at the time I thought it was only the Western fans, but there was a lot of discourse with the calling games, whether they were as good as Shibuya or as twice as bad. My personal opinion is that calling games were not as good as Shibuya, but there were still a pretty good arc, with a few weak moments here and there. If you want to hear my entire thoughts on the series, you can always watch the video, which I posted a long time ago, but it's a 1-hour video. To begin with, that very idea was prideful. I understand now that it was due to me lacking the conviction to put my creative work out in the world. This is embarrassing, but even now I don't feel fully have that conviction. We're considering evil intent that doesn't exist. I still want to shout out loudly, but the root cause of it is my immaturity as a mangaka. As I hold it in, or rather I continue in a condition where all I can do is swallow it down. Yes, there is a lot of pride in our works. When you create something, you feel prideful about it. You hope it reaches everyone. And Gege is talking about that exact feeling, where he can't really shout out of how proud he is because maybe he's feeling that's imperfect. I will reread this by myself again with another translation. I think Myth on Twitter did another translation, but I'm kind of guessing what Gege is trying to say here. The good thing about Shonen Jump is that the brand image is built around not the creator but the created work, and so by trusting myself to make it so that readers can read my manga, well, without worry, I will take the lesson of these 7 years to heart. And I want to overcome my problems after this. I have books back that I bought during serialization, some for study, some just to have around because they might make me smarter. In truth, I do feel they made me smarter, just by having them around, even if I didn't read them. It's scary. This is the end of Jujutsu Kaisen that I have drawn. To everyone who supported me, to the people who read it all at once when it became topical, to those who read it wanting to see what came after the anime, to the person who just happened to read this final volume. Any reason is fine. I truly thank you. Until we meet again. Now, why did I cover this? I want to discuss something. This year has been pretty tough for me. It is the end of the year. I think I'll be either posting this on the 29th, on the 30th, or 31st, before I'm celebrating New Year's with my family, but mental health is important. And I would like everyone to understand that. This is not like an optional thing in our life. Being aware of our mental health is great, and mental health in creators is not something that is discussed often. We always like to criticize our creators, making funny jokes about them, like, oh, Kubo fumbled this, Horikoshi didn't give us, like, jokes, you know? But we never take into consideration that behind these aliases, behind these names, behind these drawings are people. especially with manga where the entire process is done by basically a single person. Instead of having an artist, a colorist, a writer, an editor, we really have an editor who changes constantly and an artist and a writer together. And Gege Akutami encapsulates this perfectly. The man has been one of the few cases, except Araki, where his name is probably said as much as the characters themselves, creating this very per-social relationship where we know so much about Gege Akutami. It's honestly kind of weird. We know that the man is colorblind. We actually knew his when he changed his color of his hair, and yes, all this information was provided by him himself. But here's the thing: every artist provides this information about himself, but with Gege it was this weird case where we knew literally everything. And unlike someone like Araki, Hirohiko Araki, who is also really big in his own fandom, we did not really treat Gege in the way we would treat Araki. Araki is always idolized, but Gege is always scrutinized, if it makes sense. But this kind of reminded me that there is a person behind it. This, like, everything I collect, everything I read, and Gege Akutami is an example of not taking care of your mental health and prioritizing your work. It has been clear to me through his interviews and everything he talked about it here. So, I guess without going too in-depthly into this, I would like to say this: treat everyone like you would want to be treated yourself. Keep in mind that everyone has their mental health, and sometimes we might not look after it properly. Gege Akutami is an amazing person. He wrote this amazing manga, he created this amazing experience for everyone. Yet, he still feels like this, because he did not look after his own mental health. And I wish the pause period that Gege is going to take in between this manga and his future work, he's going to work on his mental health. He's going to become happier. I wish my favorite artist, my favorite writer to be happy. I wish them to be happy. And I wish you, the viewer, to be happy. Go out, have fun with your life. And if you have issues with your mental health, don't throw them away. Don't think about them, oh, this will just pass, this is just a phase. No. I'm telling you right now, your mental health is important. Creators' mental health is important. No matter who you are, a millionaire, if you're broke, if you, no matter who you are, a celebrity, a normal person, maybe you're fucking God, I don't know. Your mental health is important. Don't treat it like a thing which you can ignore for a long period of time. And if you're a creator, please look after yourself. This entire, like, 2-page thing at the end of the year, I don't know why, I just want to talk about, I don't want to talk about my personal experiences, but I just want people to look after themselves. That's, like, really all I want to say. I wish you a happy new year. Christmas already passed, but I hope you had a fun Christmas. Any holiday you celebrate, I hope you will have fun, and I hope this new year brings a lot of happiness to you. Let 2025 be the best year for yourself, for your mind, for your body. I wish you to be happy. That's all I want to say. And I wish Gege Akutami to be happy too in the future. Because this person, I owe a lot to them. And I just really want them to be happy, I guess.